It is said that life is an adventure, and some people love to be on that lifelong exhilarating trip. In today's digital age, with a career in tech presenting very promising opportunities, leaving tech raises many questions. Why would one leave the tech space to create travel experiences for people in Africa? In today's episode, we dive into the captivating story of Wesley Ablordeppey, affectionately called Phish, a techie who traded his keyboard for a compass and is now a household name when it comes to travel in Ghana and Africa. Enjoy today's episode. This episode is brought to you by Big Spark. Big Spark is the UK's fastest growing data solutions consultancy, translating your business needs into data architecture, strategy, and engineering. Together with their technical partners, they focus on swift and efficient business value delivery. Taking an innovative approach to every challenge, Big Spark is an agile team of over 100 world-class engineers and data scientists pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with AI, data, software, cloud, and machine learning. To find out how Big Spark can ignite your data solution, visit us at www.bigspark.dev. Big Spark, igniting change through engineering. Hello there, and welcome to the Tech Stuff Podcast, where we navigate today's tech wave one electrifying conversation at a time. I am your host, Raymond Kluche, and today I have an old friend, a classmate, who has taken a whole different turn in his career as compared to what I thought he was going to do after school. But yeah, today I have Phish, as he's affectionately called, to come and expound a little bit about his transition from tech into becoming a travel experience designer, he calls it. So without further ado, I'll let Phish introduce himself, and then we can delve into today's conversation. So thank you so much for coming, Phish, and over to you.
Okay. Hello, world, and hi, Raymond. My name is Fish, like you said, but it needs to be spelled. So it's Fish, Phish, so that people don't think it's a normal fish in water or, in the ocean. Yeah. So, yeah, that's me.
Okay, is that all you just want to give to us, or you
Um,
or you want to leave the big stuff in like later in the
yeah,
conversation?
yeah. I'm not one that likes to talk about myself that much, and
Okay,
I'm hoping that we will get to enter all the corners, and you'll be able to bring out all the details
right. Okay,
about me in the conversation. Yeah.
all right. Okay, so let's first start off from your name. I know your official name is not Fish. So what is your
Yeah.
official name?
Okay. So this question. Okay. My official name, yeah, is Edinam Wesley Kweku Ablordeppey.
Right.
Yeah, quite
And
long.
where does a fish come from?
Hmm. Okay. This is like the third time in my life I'm sharing this story. So
Well,
yeah. So my first name is Edinam,
mm-hmm.
and if you are listening to this and you are an Ewe and you are also an Ashanti, and you
Right,
speak Tree, you will know that as an Ewe, Edina means something else.
right,
And Edina means in the Ewe language, it means I'm
mm-hmm.
lucky. So my
Right.
parents called me Edina because yeah,
They were quite lucky.
I brought them a lot of luck.
Right.
And but then again, in Tree, Nam means fish. Yeah, I think Nam means fish, like the
Right.
edible fish.
Right.
So when I was in primary school, my mates used to tease me, calling me Eddie Fish, Eddie Meat. Like they literally just anything that the name meant. So fish, meat. So they used to tease me Eddie Fish, Eddie Meat, and I never liked it. It was always
Right.
like annoying, but
Right.
I couldn't get them to stop. So someone just told me that when people are teasing you and trying to like make fun of you, and you
Mm,
accept it, you embrace it, right? They see that it's no longer provoking you. So they don't see the fun
mm.
in it anymore. So I had to just like embrace it. And whenever they call me Eddie Fish, I responded. So it became like a nickname. And then,
Oh.
yeah, so it became a nickname, Eddie Fish, with the spelling of normal fish. And as I went on to JHS, and I remember vividly, like in high school, when you go to high school in Ghana, especially the boarding house, there are a lot of nicknames, and even going to a boys' school makes it worse. You need to have a nickname because they can't be calling you Eddie now or Wesley. I don't know,
Right.
they have a way they go about it. So I decided to just add the drop of the Eddie from the fish, from the Eddie
Mm.
fish, and then
Right.
maintain the fish. And I realized that keeping it as FISH didn't sound cool. So I had to change the F to PH and then use that as my nickname in senior high school. That is
Right.
Fish. Yeah, so that's where Fish came from, and it's now like my actual name. There are people who listen to this podcast and then hear the story for the first time because it's not a story that I like to share. So there are people
Right.
who actually think my real name is Fish until they probably see a document from me or something, and then they see that, oh, this guy is called Eddie now Wesley. Cool, cool. Like, yeah. So that's about it.
Interesting. Interesting. So, tell us a little bit about your interest or your decision to come and read tech. So, for those of you who are listening, Fish and I went to the same university. We were in the same class. We were very much friends, and we read IT at the University of Ghana. And yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how did you end up in University of Ghana reading IT?
Hmm. Wait, I feel like I have a lot of stories. I feel like everything that I've done in this life has like a long
Go
background
for it.
story.
Go for it.
But I was never supposed to study IT in school. And I remember very well when we were freshmen, right? When I think the first semester, almost everyone in our class had their own story of, oh, I wasn't supposed to be in this class. I
Right.
didn't supposed to, I didn't choose IT and all of that.
Right.
Everyone had their share of that story. That was also because we were the first batch for that program. So, but I, for one, I chose the course. I chose the program. I think that it was just like my fourth, I think my last choice also. So all my life, before I went to senior high school, I went to Bishop Herman. So shout outs
Mm,
to any Bobu listening to this podcast, wherever you are. I went to Bishop Herman College in Pando. But before I went to the school, when I was in JHS, I wanted to be an accountant. So I remember
mm,
my favorite teacher in JHS, Mrs. Thompson, wherever you are right now. Thank you so much. She advised me that Bishop Herman was a good school to go to if I really
mm,
wanted to become an accountant and get admitted to a top university in Ghana because their students were very good and they learn a lot. So she made me choose Bishop Herman, and
mm,
that wasn't the school I wanted to go to, but I mean I took her advice, and I got admitted to Bishop Herman to study business, and so that was perfect for me. I felt like my dreams were coming true. But my
mm.
3 years in Bishop Herman weren't the best, especially in terms of teaching. We didn't have the best. Well, we used to have the best accounting teacher allocated to us, but my class was full of I won't say arrogance, but we
Mm,
felt like we knew too much, and
right.
we felt like the teacher that we didn't know. So I remember one time they did an assessment, I think at the end of Form 1, and so they do an anonymous kind of assessment, but they know the class that the survey belongs to.
Right.
So it turned out that my class reviewed our accounting teacher poorly. So when we were going to Form 2, they changed him, and he was disappointed. I remember he came to our class to vent and all of that. That why did we do that to him? Do we know who he is and all of that? So now they took this so-called best accounting teacher from us and brought in someone, and that person was West. He was even a sort of like a new teacher, a fresh teacher, because we didn't have a lot of accounting teachers in the school. So my love for accounting in Form 1 was up there. It was good. I mean, I didn't know much about accounting. But after they took this teacher from us that my class said they didn't like, and the new teacher that they brought to us, almost half of the class began like hating accounting.
Right.
So I was one of those people. I didn't like accounting anymore. I was missing classes. I'll be in my dorm sleeping or just playing games on my mobile phone and all of that. So I realized that my dreams of becoming an accountant were beginning to go away, were beginning to fade away.
Right.
And the final straw was when we were writing our WASI. I realized that the accounting paper was my worst paper. Like I
Mm.
remember, and not to brag, but I was one of the best students in Bishop Herman for my year group, and
Okay.
yeah. So for me to say that accounting paper was bad just lets you know how it was. And also as part of the 3 year group, so already we didn't have a lot of time to go through the entire syllabus, and we didn't have a good teacher. So that's two things here. So we, in terms of comparing us to the 4 year batch, they had like a more advantage. And so
Mm.
I just thought the paper was so bad. And I remember when I finished, I got on the phone with my dad and I told him that, hey, dad, I know we both agreed that I'll become a chartered accountant. Like after high school, I'll enroll for ACC and all of that. But I don't think I can do that anymore. He asked me why. And I said, the paper I just wrote was the worst. And when my grades come out and that one is bad and it will be bad, just don't be surprised. But also letting you know that I can't do the chartered accountant accounting anymore.
Right.
And he was very disappointed, and we were both lost because I think at the time before Wasi or during Wasi, my mates were buying like forms for university, applying all of that. But because I wanted to become a chartered accountant and enroll in ACCA, there wasn't the need for me to go to university. Or my dad and I agreed that I wasn't going to go to university. I could just sign up for any private institution and then enroll in the ACCA program. And so I think time had gone by and we didn't know what to do. And he wasn't taking that new update like lightly at all. He still wanted me to become a chartered accountant, but I told him that no, I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I came home from school, and one day I was there, and an uncle of mine reached out. He's like, "Hey, like, what are you doing? Like, what's next after school?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, but this is the plan my dad and I had, and now
Right.
I have gone to change it, and my dad is no longer kind of like giving me attention."
Mm.
And my uncle was like, okay, you know what? You just come for money. Go and buy Legon forms because he went to Legon as well. Just go and buy Legon forms and apply and let's see what happens. Let's maybe by the time your results are in and maybe you get admitted, your dad might change his plans. But so I bought the forms and I remember I didn't know what to choose. I didn't know the programs to choose because it wasn't my plan to go to University of Ghana. So I didn't
Right.
know if I should choose maybe admin or this or that or that. And now I read through like the available courses at Legon, and I think business administration was the one that caught my attention because I did business in high school, so doing administration in uni was like a good thing to continue with. But I discussed with my dad, and he said no. If I apply and I choose business administration and I get admitted, he won't pay my fees. He said it wasn't worth going to university to study business administration. Guys, like
Mm.
I'm sorry to anyone who studied business administration, but my dad said he wasn't going to pay. And I was like, so what do I do? So I reached out to a friend who said that, oh, like, I think you are good with computers and you've always been good with computers from primary school, JHS. So
Right.
why don't you choose something computer related? And at the time, that was in 2013, she felt like programming and this like IT skills will be in high demand. So let me go for
Right.
it. But if you remember the story, like I've been sharing for the past few minutes, IT wasn't in my thing, it was business. And so I think I chose computer science because I did e-maths. So I felt I had some kind of like leverage. So I chose computer science, and I think I chose BSc psychology, statistics, and I think the last one was IT. I was just filling the boxes because I think I bought the form a few days to deadline, and I had just one day to submit them. So I was just in a hurry. So I
Right.
submitted them, and I told my uncle who gave me the money to buy the forms that "Hey, these are the courses I choose." He was like, "Okay, cool." And so the results came out and I did great for my WASI. And even the accounting that I thought was going to be so bad, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I think my EMATS was the worst rather. EMATS that I was so confident in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And EMATS was actually what pushed me to choose computer science. I thought I would get an A, but I didn't get an A. So because I didn't perform so well in EMATS as a business student, my chances of getting computer science were very like small. So I think they ended up giving me IT. And they gave me IT, I think because it was because we were the first batch and they needed people to fill that class. And
Right.
also because I didn't do well in my EMATs, I didn't stand a chance of getting computer science or BSc
Mm.
psychology or statistics. So I
Right.
think the IT was perfect for me. And I was quite happy about it because it was like, I mean, when we were in school, we always saw IT like a lighter version of computer science. I'm sure you would agree. Like it was
Right.
like computer science minus all the headache, all the
Right.
maths and physics
Right.
and all of that.
Right.
So I was actually happy to be in that class. And yeah, I think in the beginning it was great. So that's how I quickly transitioned from business to tech.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how I ended up in the world of IT in University of Ghana.
Right, right. So let's stay there a little bit. Yes, we were in Legon for 4 years. Relatively, computer science were doing more statistics and math than we did. But then we also had a few, issues that we had to also face with all these certifications whatsoever. I just want to know from your perspective, how was your 4 years in University of Ghana studying tech or studying IT, information technology for that matter?
It was a roller coaster. I feel
Mm,
like, and I feel like that's probably the only roller coaster that I've had in my life, because we were the first batch, and I'll keep repeating this. We were the first batch. That's facts. There wasn't any proper structure to how they were handling us.
mm,
And I felt like they were just experimenting with us. So we didn't have the best of lecturers,
right,
and this lecturer will come today, the next semester is that person, and all of that. And there were a lot of TAs handling the programs. I remember there was one particular semester in the 4 years that our HOD was the one in charge of all the 6 courses that we had. And there was no
right,
way one human being was going to be in charge of all those courses. So I mean,
right.
his name was on paper as the lecturer in charge, but it was different TAs, like teaching
Mm,
assistants, that were handling the
right,
course.
right.
So I just felt like we weren't exposed to like good lecturers. So the learning experience wasn't the best, and we didn't have a lot of resources. Like we didn't have a proper lab. I think it was getting to final year that they renovated our IBM lab.
Mm,
Yeah, so we didn't have a proper lab, and we didn't even have like great classrooms, because
mm,
we're the first batch. So we were
right,
sharing classrooms with other departments and all of that,
right.
moving up and down. So my experience, if I were to rate it, I'll say I would say 5 out of 10. Yeah, it's 50-50. Yeah, I'll be nice. I'll be
I
nice
feel
and say
you.
yeah,
I
five
feel
out of
you.
ten. Yeah,
I understand. I understand. But IT as a whole, what would you say, you really enjoyed, like learning? What did you enjoy, or what was your major
yeah,
takeaway from those 4 years in terms of technical skills?
yeah. This is a great question, and I feel like you know what? Let me just chip in. Let me just chip this in. I think God is amazing. I think that sometimes we think we find ourselves at the wrong places, but
Mm,
He put us there for a reason.
right,
And if you are just patient, you realize that you're actually on the track that God wants you to be, and everything
right.
just works out perfectly. So, if you remember the story, I studied business in high school,
Mm,
and I came to university, and I was in the IT class.
right.
But I'm sure you'd agree with me that our IT was a fusion of computing and
Yeah,
business.
right.
Yeah, I mean there was a semester we did accounting,
Accounting,
we did
macro,
economics.
micro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah. So so anytime I think school started, and then we got access to like the course like layout for the semester, and I saw these
Mm,
business courses. I was always excited. I was like, "Yay! I did this in high school, so I'll have like an upper hand in class and all of
right,
that." So
right.
I think it was a mixture of IT and business, and that was very good for me. So I felt like I was still having my business lessons in there,
Mm,
and
mm,
combining that with IT. So
mm,
the IT and business went like hand in hand, and
mm,
I can see how that played a huge role in where I am today.
mm,
And those business courses or classes that we had were some of my best moments in Legon.
That's interesting. After Legon, what did you use your tech skills for?
Um, hmm, I think the straight answer is I didn't use my tech skills for
Okay,
anything,
all right.
because
Like right
I
after
think
school, you didn't
yeah,
do
no, no,
any
no,
like
no, no,
big
no, no,
national service
no,
or anything
no,
where you had to do
no,
something like
no,
Cisco packet tracer or
no.
anything.
Packet tracer, like packet tracer, I was always seeing stars. Like I
Tell
didn't know
me
what was
about it.
going on.
Listen, networking is not very much my forte, so I don't know
Good.
much about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I was a networking major. I think you were in something. I think cybersecurity
Yeah,
or
I think
something.
no, I was in cybersecurity. I was in programming and databases.
Okay, sure, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good for you. So I was a networking and telecoms, yeah, telecommunication like major, and because I wanted to become a network engineer. So I,
Mm,
I remember all the internships that every long vacation I took an internship, and just to keep myself busy and learn like some industry skills and all of
right.
that. I think you and I even did we do an internship together at UGCS?
No, I never
Okay,
I never went to
okay,
GCS.
sure. I think it's someone. So it was I wanted to become a networking engineer, but along the way, I think in my final year was when I gave up on IT. Like in general, I gave up on school. I gave up on IT. I won't say I had some midlife crisis, but I'm sure you were there. You remember like my personal issues in
Yeah,
school
I
as well.
remember.
But I gave up on IT and I found a new love. So one thing about my family is that I'm born into like a family of creatives.
Mm.
My dad is like a 360 like artist. Like he does so many. He does many forms of art.
Mm.
So I also identify as a creative, right? And I've always loved drawing, taking pictures. Thanks to my dad, he always like forced me to like take pictures for him. He always give me his camera to take pictures at family events and all of that.
Right.
So I think in final year I found my love for photography,
Mm.
and yeah, I mean I was doing some businesses in school and all of that. I remember I did a number of businesses and I got money to buy a laptop
Okay.
in my final year, and then I sold that laptop, and I think I got a phone. I I'm kind of forgetting the details of this story, but what I remember was that I had a BlackBerry phone,
All right.
and I loved taking pictures with a BlackBerry so much, and I took some friends of mine in my residential hall, Mensa Sabah. They had a baseball game, and I captured it on my phone, and they
Mm.
liked the pictures so
Mm.
much,
Mm.
and I just felt like, you know what, this photography thing is my thing,
Mm.
and this is the right moment for me to pivot into that.
Mm.
So I just forgot about school. I mean, I was just staying on campus. I wasn't focusing on lectures anymore. And although that was in my final year, I was focusing on something else.
All
I
right.
remember my final year project. I even gave up on it. I
Mm.
was struggling, and
Mm.
I was working on computerizing the birth and death registry.
Right.
I gave up on my final year project, and it was one particular TA, wherever she is, said, thank you so much.
Mm.
She helped me, and she took my case very personal. That she was going to see to it that I submit my project work, I do my presentation, and I graduate that year. And so that was what actually helped me. But like back to the story, I gave up on IT in final year, and although I submitted my project and I graduated despite all the challenges that we had with our grades and all of that,
Right.
my last year in school, my last semester in school was the last time I did something with IT seriously.
Mm.
So my photography career started in my final year.
Mm.
When I finished, I had a professional camera. I was in photography full time. Like
Mm.
I was getting like paid like big money. I thought I was like a big boy. And so I didn't do my national service like my
Mm.
mates,
Mm.
because I was already doing photography and photography events. I was an event photographer, and I could be called for an event on a weekday, and I didn't see how I could manage that with my national service. And I think I also applied for national service, but I got posting to a school somewhere in the Volta region to be a teacher. So, and I couldn't change it. So I just decided not to do national service at
Mm.
all and
Right.
focus on my photography. So that 1 year after school, no tech, no service, I was just doing photography. But when my mates finished with their NSS, I think I was still staying with my mom, and she was giving me a lot of pressure at home that I need to do this service, NSS, and just bring her the certificate. She needs a
Mm.
certificate, that's all.
Right.
But I can't, no matter the money that I think I'm making from photography, I don't know what will happen to me in the future.
Mm.
So let me just do the service for her. So I remember after my mates were done with their service, I asked of their experience and their organizations, which of them were good to them and all of that, so that I would know where to do my service
Right.
now.
Right.
Yeah, so I think I decided to do my national service finally, and I got placed. I think I was at the National Identification Authority (NIA) at Shashi. Yes, and because I had no love for tech anymore, and NIA at the time they were registering people for Ghana card, so it was
Mm.
a place that was heavily relying on IT.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember. I think our former HOD was even there. She was the head of IT or so.
Oh wow.
So yeah, uh, yeah, Matilda. Yeah, she was there. And but I wasn't in the IT department, and I thank God that they didn't put me in the IT department. Although I studied IT in school, I was in the
Right.
facilities department.
Right.
So I was a direct assistant to the assistant manager. At the I was an assistant to the facilities manager at the time.
Right.
I was helping him with the day-to-day activities and all of that. I was far from IT, although our office was just like next door to the tech people. But because I had no love for it, I didn't want to. I didn't want to find myself doing anything with the tech people in NIA. So I finished my NSS, although I had some challenges with that. Yeah, I did that in 1 year, and I went back to my photography full time. And then along the way, I found myself starting a travel business. Yeah. So I haven't done anything with tech since I left school.
That's like you just abandoned the tech like that. Like, you know what? I'm
Yeah,
done. I got my
we
degree
are
and I'm good
done.
to
Yeah,
go.
we had
Right,
a big
right.
time divorce.
I like that. I like that. So, amongst many things, you are a photographer, and I think at the time when you started photography was, that era where, studio photography was coming back like in vogue. Like people wanted,
Hmm.
that very quality. I don't know, is it DLS or DLR camera?
Yeah,
You
DSLR.
DSLR exactly,
Yeah.
those camera, like those top notch stuff. Because I think about the same time to one friend of mine actually who came here this weekend, Asada, also started about the same time, level 100. I think you started later, but it was that era where a lot of photographers came to the scene and everything, and everyone wanted a pro picture, and everyone also wanted to become a photographer. So whenever you see a photographer, you hold the camera and you take a few shots, then you feel like you are the next big thing. You get it?
Hmm.
And I think with the way you started off, I think you were doing very well, quite decently. Then all of a sudden, I see that you are into travel, and I'm like, "What's up with Fish? Like, how did he get into this area?" If you can expand a little bit, like, would you say your photography led you into travel, or traveled? Just like popped up like one day, or you slept and you had an epiphany, and you just okay, maybe this is my new thing.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So before I answer that, hi to Asida. I think Asida was an engineering student, correct?
Yes, yes. I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's currently in
Yeah.
the UK, also working as a tech lead. Also, you know him. That's
Great.
nice. Small
Oh
world.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the world is so small.
Right.
It's very mind blowing. Asida was one of the few people that I was looking forward to when I started photography. I used to follow his page on Instagram, and so yeah, like I really like his pictures, and I was so happy when I found out that he was in Legon, and I think we met a few times in Sabah Hall. Like he came there to have like lunch in our canteen,
Right.
so
Yeah. I
we
said
used to
that's
have like a chit
amazing.
chat. Yeah, and also I had this shipping business in school, and he was one of my clients.
Oh
Yeah, I think
wow.
Asida and I. Yeah, yeah. So Asida is one guy that I never forget. And so how I got into travel, and I would say it was just chance. Yeah, I didn't plan it. And I wouldn't say my tech background led me there or my business, but I think it was just social media. That was where I think I would give it to social media.
Right.
I think yeah, the idea came from a tweet that I made. So first of all, I mean, I've been traveling. I used to be a member of the Rotaract Club, and Rotaract Club is a sub club of Rotary International,
Okay.
but it's for younger people. So we used to do projects around Ghana, and so we like these projects involved a lot of traveling. So I would say that's where my passion for traveling started from. And yeah, we used to take trips to other West African countries as well for conferences.
Mm.
I remember I did a 3 day road trip to Niger and back. So I think at one point, yeah, after that Niger trip, right, I just was so eager to travel to other African countries. So there's this thing that people do on Twitter where they tweet into existence, right? Saying something that they want to see happen in their lives. And then when it happens, they come back, give an update, and everyone is so excited for them and they cheer them on and love that. It's always a beautiful thing. So I think also people usually do that at the end of the year, getting to the end of the year, that, oh, next year I want to do this, I want to do that. So I think for me to around 1 December, I also made a tweet that, oh, next year I'm traveling to 3 African countries. No, at the time I hadn't been to all the regions in Ghana. So I said, oh, next year I'm going to travel to, I'll make sure I go to all the 10 regions in Ghana. I think at the time we still had 10 regions.
Right.
And yeah, so I said I was going to go to all the 10 regions in Ghana and do 3 African countries. And about 20 people liked that tweet and yeah, they liked it, retweeted. And for me, I felt like that was a big deal. 20 people, imagine 20 people coming to your door right now and saying hi
Right.
to you.
Right.
Like, or say, hey, Raymond, like, like thumbs up on this podcast. 20
Right.
people your doors. They're like, that's big.
Listen,
So
even before you go, just the little stats I have. Like one day I checked my stats and I was like, wow, I just started this like a month ago. Like, why are
mhm,
these many people listening and giving this amount of feedback? So yeah, I feel you there.
yeah, yeah. People like to support good stuff. So
Right.
and so I just felt like that engagement was like a boost. I felt like, oh, there are other people who want to do this thing that I want to do. So why not start a group? It wasn't a business. I think I didn't think of it as a business. I just thought of creating like a group. So I shared the idea with a friend and then we started like a business out of it.
Right.
Yeah, it became a business eventually. So that's how I got into travel. So we're doing trips around Ghana and yeah, that's how I got into travel. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I know so like you said, you were doing your travel stuff with your friend for some time. Then I cannot really remember the name of the company at the time, but then all of a sudden I remember. I just remember all of a sudden I see Move Africa, right?
Hmm.
I see Move Africa, and I'm like, okay, what is it like? What is Move? Because I think like a bit of a vibe came like we move of a
Yeah.
sort, right? Like, yeah. Then I was like, okay, what is Move? I didn't really understand what it meant though. But I was like, okay, what is Move Africa? And then I knew that okay, it was associated with you. If you could expand a little bit about, Move Africa, like, first off, why the name Move Africa, and then what what you guys do.
Okay. So when I got into travel or when I started the travel business, like I said, I started with a friend because I shared the idea with a friend. So we
Right,
had one business that I think lasted for 2 years, or I was in there for 2 years,
right,
and I had to leave because of some issues.
right,
And so I started Move Africa after dealing with those issues because I mean I actually gave up on travel business, like the business of travel. I gave up on entrepreneurship in general. So I remember, I'm sure all these things are on Twitter. I was looking for a 9 to 5, and it wasn't easy at all, Raymond. Like it
wow.
wasn't easy. Yes, I was looking for a 9 to 5, and I was so frustrated that I had to tweet, I had to put it on Twitter that hey, please, this is my background. I'm looking for a corporate job. So if you have any help,
Was it
please
in
reach
tech?
out.
Were you looking for something in tech potentially?
Raymond, I just wanted a job. I just wanted income every month. What is tech? No, like I said, I left tech in uni. I
Right,
didn't. So I think my skills. I didn't have any tech skills. I
right,
probably had like the theory in mind.
right.
So I was applying for jobs. Like I think I applied to more than 100 jobs, and it wasn't easy. And I got a couple of interviews because my CV was always amazing. Also
Mhm.
because like I was a founder of like a business
Right.
and the things that I had done. But whenever I went for interviews, I realized that the offers that they were mentioning weren't good. The monies that they wanted to pay weren't good. So I always wanted to move on to the next one, next one.
Mm,
And I realized that nothing good was coming. Like I wasn't getting any better offer. So I
right.
just had to settle for one that I thought was good because I was going to be the team assistant of a musician in Ghana.
Mm,
And this musician is like quite international. I won't mention a name though.
that's
Well, I
fine.
say
No
hey.
worries.
So I was employed as the team assistant of one of like Ghana's best musicians here, and that lasted for just 3 weeks. So I got employed for just 3 weeks, and I didn't. I wasn't happy in that job. I wasn't happy at all, and my boss could tell that I wasn't happy, and she let go. Like she let me go. She said she likes to support the youth, and she wouldn't like to see me being sad whenever I came to the office. And she could tell that there's something that I really want to do. There's something that is in me that I'm passionate about, but it is not being in her office
Mm,
and helping them with this business. So this is my salary. Bear in mind, I said, is that 3 weeks? I lasted there for 3 weeks. She was like, you take your salary, go home, think about what you want to do in life, and come to me. Whatever it is, I'll support you.
oh wow.
Yeah. But before I got that job, I think I already had the idea for Move, yeah, in
Mm,
mind.
mm,
I already had the idea for Move. I was speaking to a friend to design like my logo and all of that. And so as soon as I left that job, I just accelerated with Move. I just started Move. I launched it. We had one trip. It was a rock climbing experience, and it was sold out. I was expecting about 10 people. I think I had 13 or so. So I felt like, I mean,
Wow.
yeah, I got more than I expected. It was amazing. I mean, and I still had a camera at that time. So my photography skills were still there. I had my gear. So I took
Right.
beautiful pictures. And when I came to Twitter to announce that, hey, this is the new thing that I'm doing, this is my new travel company, the support was very amazing. People were really excited about that because they thought when I left the previous company, like that was it all for me. But people really supported me and we just kept going from there. So this was in March 2021. So yeah, from then to now, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years, and we've done 181 trips since 13th March 2021. Yeah,
Wow.
181 trips. We're about to go on the 180th.
181 trips.
Yeah,
Wow, that is
181 trips.
mad.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
We're
that
doing
is
the
mad.
182nd one this weekend. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Listen, when I just saw the way Move Africa just became like a brand on its own, I was like, yo, I know a celebrity. Like, yo, do you know I know a celebrity? Because I know Fish. Like, for those of you who are listening, I got him a Bible and he even left the Bible on campus. I asked him recently and he said he cannot find where the Bible is. But that was the level of, because we were both Christian, right? So
Yeah,
Fish and I,
yeah,
we had this very close friendship. We used to talk a lot. Really used to
yeah,
talk a lot. I remember
yeah,
one time we used to talk about life. I think I picked you up in my car, that small Yaris, and
yeah,
yeah, we used to talk like we really, really used to
yeah,
talk a lot. So when I just
yeah.
saw the way Move Africa just, became like a household name, I was really, really impressed because it wasn't just like, mid travel kind of stuff. Like you could see the user
Mhm.
experience, you could see a lot of things. And I'm like, no, you've really, put in like thought, like you've thought through this and it's actually, coming out beautifully. And then you could see the Instagram stuff and I could see some friends attending, like, like the uh the travel events and everything. I'm like, wow, like you've really, really done well for yourself. And like I'm so, so proud of you. Like I'm really, really proud of you. But let's, delve a little bit into Move Africa. I know people do see Instagram, the glitz, the glam. You always come and put the nice reels and all that there. What have been the major challenges you've had with Move so far?
Okay. Thank you for all the praises. Uh,
You-
I really appreciate them. I mean, it always feels good to hear people praise what we do and
mm,
get all excited about it. And it's also one of the few things that keeps me going
mm,
because if you are doing something and people are not supporting you or speaking good of it, then you will feel like you're not doing something good at all and you might probably give up. So thanks to you guys for supporting the movement. Yeah, that's how we like to call it. And yeah, so Move Africa has been great so far. I think I've had a good support system. My friends who helped me set up, like my friends who helped me with like branding, social media, like just recommending us and all of that, coming with their friends and all of that. So it's been amazing so far. The journey has been great. Yeah, and when I think about challenges, I'll probably say just a few of them.
right.
So first of all, we started right from the get go. We started with a vision of going beyond Ghana, and so that has always been an idea. That's why it's called Move Africa and not
Mm,
Move Ghana. We see
mm,
ourselves as becoming one of the best or well-known travel companies on the continent.
mm,
So our trips are also designed for people to explore the continent. Our trips are designed for people to explore Africa, go go beyond Ghana because travel is bigger than just Ghana. So it's been amazing so far. But some of the challenges I will say is for Ghana is just our poor road system. Like
mm,
our road networks aren't the best. So doing road trips to certain parts of the country aren't always the easiest of 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 things. And another thing that I will also say is a problem is some of the tourist sites. But I mean, yeah, these are things that are beyond me, are beyond
mm,
my business. Some of the tourist sites are not so developed. But I think these days, thanks to the year of return and the current leadership at the Ministry of Tourism, I think they are doing good
mm,
because I go to some of the tourist sites now and I see the improvements. There are washrooms, the road over there are getting better and all of
mm,
that. So
mm.
things are getting better, but they could be way better. Like there's still so much that we can do in our tourism space in Ghana. And one of the major challenges that has always been on my mind since I experienced there was exchange rates,
Mm.
especially last year, because we started with our international trips last year. And you would agree with me that 2022 is the year that Ghanaians experienced the worst of forex issues.
Right.
Like our the CD was performing so bad against the dollar. So planning an international trip, charging in USD,
Mm.
charging in USD was the only option, right? Because if I charge you CD today and tomorrow I want to buy the ticket for the trip, the price I would have to look for more CDs to pay for
Mm.
that same
Mm.
$1,000,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And my partner in the different African country that we want to visit,
Mm.
they are not going to take CD from me. They are taking
Right.
a
That's it.
foreign like USD.
Right.
So our only solution was to charge people in USD. I remember the first trip we did was to Zanzibar, and we had a CD package and a USD package because we were like, come on, our people have access to CD, so why charge them USD? But I was learning on the job, and that was one thing I really appreciate about my work. I learned on the job. And so I realized that the first few people that gave me CD deposits, anytime I was ready to make a transaction, I needed to go for more CDs. And I can't go to them and say, hey, top up. It
Mm.
was my own money. So we took that flyer down and then we're using just a USD one. So now the
Right.
trip was, yeah, it was just in USD. So foreign exchange was a very big issue. And yeah, so sometimes as well, like I think I remember we were going to Togo and Ghanaians were like, oh, come on, Togo is just here. Why do you want to charge us USD? Charge us cities. And we're like, okay, cool, cool. I mean, we like to listen to like feedback from our community a lot because that was the only way that we are able to improve on our experience,
Mm.
like on the
Mm.
experiences for
Mm.
them.
Mm.
So when we got this feedback, we're like, okay, cool. We're going to charge cities for this trip. So when I charged, yeah, the trip was in cities. When it was time for the trip, the safer had gone up. Like I nearly gave up on the trip. I was like, one thing that we don't do over here is giving up. We don't give up.
Okay.
So I still went ahead to do the trip, and a friend of mine advised me that just approach the clients who have booked the trip, tell them the issue, and everyone will agree. Everyone was feeling the issue.
Mm.
Tell them, and they would understand. So I asked them to just top up a bit, and then I'll top up the rest because I couldn't throw all the burden on them. So
Right.
those are some of the challenges that I have faced with this business. And another one is funding, right? You in the tech space, people are able to raise like raise funds for their business, get investors,
Mm.
and all of that.
Mm.
But the few people that I've spoken to, they try to run away from service business.
Mm.
They always advise that oh, having a product is the best,
Mm.
right? So my current challenge or current thing I'm trying to focus on how to productify our business,
Mm.
so that we can also raise funds and do so much more because there's a lot that Move Africa can do. There's so much that we can do and scale this business, enter different markets, set
Mm.
up offices in different countries on the continent, but funding is like our biggest headache.
Mm.
So in 2024, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm looking at achieving.
Hello there, Tech Surfers. I have got some news for you. The Tech Surf podcast is now on Instagram and LinkedIn. Follow us on Instagram at the Tech Surf podcast and LinkedIn, the Tech Surf podcast, to stay up to date on new episodes and to get interactive. Don't forget to like, share, and send us feedback on your favorite episodes and the lessons you've learned. See you soon. That's quite impressive. I'm just very impressed by how keen you are about the things you are doing. It's like you have a goal, you set your mind on it, and like you just go for it. Because I think about like 181 trips in 2 years. Like
Oh,
that
we could have
is
done more. We could have. I know.
you
I
could have
know. I
done
know.
more.
I
Oh
know.
wow, okay. And I'm here praising you. Jeez.
Because yeah, and also so 181. Someone will be like, "Oh, the company is just 2 years old and a few months. How have you?
Right.
How are you able to do 181 trips?" So what happens is we travel. We try our best to travel every weekend, right?
Okay.
So if you go to our Instagram and there are five, let's say 4 weekends in October, you realize that we have 4 trips available in October. So it's like we are the people that you always come to when you think of travel. And once you come to
Okay.
us, there will always be something available. It's like going to
Okay.
McDonald's and
Okay.
make you will
Right.
be
Right.
assured of a burger.
Okay.
So we always have something to do. That's how come we've done a lot of trips. And also on weekdays, we have like private trips for people from the diaspora and all of that. That's how come. So certain, maybe in certain months we're able to do like 8 trips or 10 trips. So back and back and back, and that's how I really want my business to be. The goal is for us to even have a trip every blessed day. So if there are 30 days in a month, we should have at least 30 trips. So now I'm
Wow.
trying to scale and like expand the team so that we can do so much more than 181 trips in 2 years. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about your dad. What does he think about your decision now? Because first off, he didn't want you to go to university.
Yeah.
Then you went to university to go and read IT. And
Yeah.
the IT, you didn't use it for anything. You
Hmm.
became a photographer. I mean, he will appeal to the creative part of you, I'm assuming. But
Hmm.
tell me what, I'm sure, okay, first off, let's talk about their decision. Like, how accepting were they of your decision to become a travel design, a designer or like travel experience designer?
Yeah.
And yeah, and how are they feeling about it now that you have a few bucks?
Yeah. So the title I like to give myself is travel experience designer, so that I could still feel like maybe like I'm a UX designer, because UI UX is something that I really wanted to do, because I see myself as a creative. So I
Okay.
mean, what I do is actually designing travel experiences, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Mm-hmm.
I do. Although I'm the founder and CEO, the particular role that I enjoy is putting together the trips, the itineraries for people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I think about every blessed day, and I always smile when I'm planning a trip on paper, on my MacBook. And my family has been very supportive, and
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing that I don't take for granted. And my last name, Ablordeppey, means house of freedom. So there's so much freedom in my family. There's so much flexibility. I'm one of the people who is probably lucky that I don't have parents who are forcing you to become a doctor, a
Mm-hmm.
lawyer, and all of that. My dad wanted me to become an accountant, but when I said no, I mean, he hasn't forced me to still pursue that. So I'm very blessed to have like such a father, and my parents who are very supportive of my dreams. And it's been good. I mean, they're proud of me. Whenever I have a trip and my mom hears about it, like, she's always reaching out. Oh, where are you going to when I come back? How was the trip? Especially when it's a foreign trip. Like, she's always excited to see me go beyond Ghana, and she's always praying for me that the business becomes bigger and better. Yeah, my family is proud of me and they're very supportive. Yeah, as for that one, yeah, there's no negativity from that side. Yeah.
And your brother right here is also proud of you. I'm super, super
Thank
proud
you,
of
Ray. And I
you.
met your dad. Like, I met your dad recently, and he was also excited. And like, yeah, he was so excited to meet me. And I was actually blessed, because I went to his office needing help with something. I was trying to register a drone, and when I met him, I was like, it was just God. God is amazing. I was telling you, like, I took a wrong turn on the road, and I wasn't mad
Right,
at myself. Had I
right,
if I was on the right path at that time, I would have missed him. But just
right,
for the fact that I took that wrong turn and I delayed, I got there, I met him, and he was so happy. He took over the entire thing and he helped me. And I wasn't even, I was flying that day. The day I met him, I was flying that afternoon.
right.
And he asked me to go home. And if I have anything I have to do, let me go do that. And he handled like the rest of the business for me. So I went and I came back to the airport, and I couldn't even go back to his office because I was late. My flight, I was late. Like, check-in was almost over. Your dad drove all over to Terminal 3, brought me my
Wow.
papers. Like, oh, like, I was like, oh wow, I know Raymond from school. Like, you're amazing. But your dad, and you used to tell me a lot about your dad, but you didn't tell me he was this amazing. Like, I knew you. Oh yeah, I mean, I felt like, Ghanaians, we always try to be like modest, humble, and all of that.
Right,
I don't expect you to come and say, oh, Fish, Charlie, my dad is good, oh, is that? But
right, right,
I experienced it for myself, and I was just so
right.
happy. Like, we took pictures and all of that. It was so amazing. I was like, oh, okay, I know my friend, and I've met his dad, and his dad has helped me. Like, that's just how we want life to be. Like, knowing
Exactly. I
people and
think
then supporting you. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
All of us, supporting one another regardless
yeah,
of whatever we are doing, and it's
yeah,
very, very important. For me, when I saw those pictures, I was like, wow, it's like a full circle moment.
yeah.
Fish lost my Bible, but then he has come back into my life. Or lost
This
the Bible, I
Bible,
got it. This
yeah,
Bible, this
no,
Bible,
no, it
man,
really
I'm going
pains
to
me.
work. It
Yeah,
hurts you.
it
Oh,
hurts, because the Bible you got for me, to be honest, I before you got me that Bible, I hadn't seen one before.
okay.
The size, like, that was the biggest Bible that I've seen.
Right, right.
Um, the Bible was so big, and it it was more like a teaching Bible.
Right.
That's how come it was big. So if you don't
Right.
understand something, you could read further and
Right.
get
Right.
understanding out of it.
Right.
And
Right.
it was a great gift, Raymond. To
Don't
be honest,
worry.
if I haven't told you before, I'm telling you now, it was a great gift. When I lost it, I didn't know how to tell you. And when you asked me recently, there was no way I could lie about it because
Don't
it
worry, that's
really,
fine. I'll get you
if I
another one. This one is on me. I'm going to get you another one very soon.
Raymond, God will, like, I mean, I won't say God will bless you, God bless you. Like, I will
Amen.
I mean, I could get a Bible, I could get it, like, I could actually buy one, but it felt so good getting it as a gift. I feel like hardly do people give Bibles to people.
Right.
So
Right.
for
Right.
someone to gift you a Bible shows how much support they
They
are
care
giving
about
you,
you.
yes, in terms of spirituality and
Right.
helping you be on the right track. And at the time when I
Right.
was in school, around the time he got me the Bible, it was like a good gift around that time because it was supposed
Right.
to do something for me in my life at the time.
Right.
And
Right.
the few
Right.
times that I read it, like, yeah, it
Mm,
did that. But it's rather
right.
unfortunate that I did what I did and I lost it. So if you're
Don't
thinking
worry.
about getting me a new one,
Why not?
now,
I mean, it's always a blessing.
yes, now I'm older and I know my responsibilities and I'm more
Right.
responsible in life. So I'll take good
Right.
care of it. Trust me. I'll make you proud. I'll make you proud.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. We're about to end soon, and in fact, actually sad that we are about to end soon because I'm trying to, keep the podcast as short as possible so that it's not like people can enjoy the listen. But the goal of this episode is for pivoting careers, people
Mhm,
who either in tech and thinking about going out of tech. Because I know whenever you listen to the media, oh, tech is the big thing. Everyone wants to go to tech. Whenever I'm around people, oh, you work in tech. Oh wow, that means you're rich. I was like, okay. Everyone has some assumptions about tech, so they want to
mhm.
get in, and a few people who are in tech are trying to get out because they are looking for other things to do. I want you to, in the shortest possible time, give the best advice you will give to someone who is at a crossroad like you were at. How do they go about it? Should they just follow your passion as they as as people mostly say, or you would give some specific advice? So I'll just let you, expound on that a little bit.
Um, yeah, I'll always say yes to following your passion.
Mm,
But then again, I feel like in life, I was even about to tweet this morning. I tend to spend a lot of time on Twitter and I tend to tweet things that I think about a lot. Or although these days I'm trying to control that. I was thinking about how we all define success like differently, right? So whatever success means to you, if you really want to achieve that, just go for it, right?
mm,
But I'm always a big preacher of following your passion because
mm,
trust me, like passion is one thing, it's fuel, like, and it's what keeps people in the space that they find themselves. It's what keeps people going, like
mm.
when money is not coming through, when
Right,
promotions are not coming through,
right,
when your code is not working and all of that. Like
right.
passion is what keeps you going. And so if you are the type who has found what you are passionate about, then
Mm,
you are blessed.
mm,
And if you can find ways to monetize that, like you are super blessed, like you are God's
mm,
favorite, right?
mm,
So if like yeah, so I would say if you have a passion and you know ways you can monetize it, good, like go for it.
mm,
Especially if money is something that you are looking for, like you're looking
mm,
for, go
mm,
for it. Always go for your passion. But another thing too is that sometimes you can follow your passion and you go hungry, right?
mm,
So I think a more sensible way to go about things, especially if you have a business idea or a passion that you know won't bring you money in the short term, you can always
mm.
have like a 9 to 5, a corporate
Right,
job, be it in
right,
tech or whatever field it is,
right,
and you can save towards your passion. And if you
right.
think the time is right, why not just take that leap and God will be with you throughout that journey. And so long as you have friends, family, people who support you on social media, like don't take those things for granted. Yeah.
Mm. That's amazing. That's amazing. Charlie, the fish I know back from campus has become a whole preacher man, and
Come on.
I'm just enjoying it. It's actually
No,
nice. It's
look
actually
at
nice
you.
to, yeah.
Look at you interviewing me today. Like if who would have thought? And that's the beauty of life. Sometimes like when I see people trying to know what will happen in their life tomorrow, I'm like, no, I'm so interested in knowing what will happen in my life tomorrow.
Mm,
I like the surprises. I like the
mm,
uncertainty of life, right?
mm,
Like, who would have thought you start a podcast? Like,
mm,
you'll be in the UK now, be
mm.
still doing tech. Because if I remember our conversation in our story, tech
We,
isn't what you wanted to do.
exactly. Even for
Yeah,
me,
yeah, you wanted to
like,
be a pilot.
bruh, listen. Every now and then I wake up and I start ask myself, like, wow, like I've actually gone to do a master's for 2 years.
Yeah,
I've written solutions architect. I've
yeah,
done all these tech stuff, and I'm still here.
yeah,
Well, there might
yeah.
as well be something in this for me in the long term.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and I guess you're proud. You're definitely passionate about it.
oh yeah, yeah,
That's why you've kept it going. And so
right.
yeah, I feel like passion plays a big role in the equation.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm. That's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing.
And I mean, we are growing, so we can't still be the same old
No,
people
we
that we are.
cannot.
Yeah, I mean,
We have to grow.
yeah.
We
Life
really
teaches
have to
us.
grow
Yeah, life
because the
teaches
questions are
us.
gradually started, coming at our door.
The what?
Those questions have gradually started popping up, and we're trying to run away.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah. I
probably you're
mean,
also dealing with your share.
oh yeah. I mean, it was one of the reasons why I even moved out of my mom's place. Like, yeah. Oh, to be honest with you, like to be honest, it was one of the
I feel
few
you.
reasons why I moved out because I
Right,
couldn't deal
right,
with those pressures anymore.
right,
So these
right.
days, yeah, yeah.
Understandably. To end today's episode, I just want us to just look back at your journey. Not that we have any power, but if there was something that you feel you could have done differently, what would it be?
In terms of what I
Your
feel
entire
like that
journey
question is very
from
broad.
yes, I made it broad for like deliberately, generally looking at how, life has just helped you from different, you know, uh, um, sectors or different spheres from time to time. There are definitely some things that maybe you felt if you had done this differently, it would have maybe propelled you. Not that
Yeah,
it would probably, like, not that it would have definitely done that, but if
I
you
think
had
I have an
maybe,
answer now. I have an
okay,
answer.
sure, go
Not to
for it.
cut it short, but I think I have an yeah. I think that one thing that I would have done is to take tech seriously.
Okay.
Taking tech seriously because one thing I've realized is that tech. I've forgotten who even said this. I don't know if it was in school or what. Tech cuts through every sphere of life.
Mm,
Like you could think about any industry right now.
all right.
The foundation, like tech, plays a big role in that industry.
All right.
So if no matter where you want to go in, like no matter where you want to go in this life,
All
if
right.
you're coming from a tech background, your journey will be better.
Mm,
Whatever you're going to offer the public will be better than
mm,
someone who doesn't have a tech background. Because look at this. Um, Even if I wanted to be an accountant, these
mm,
days, with the help of AI and softwares and all of that, coming from a tech background, if I wanted to even own my own business,
mm,
I could have an accounting software or a business that tech will play a huge role in, right? Like the
mm.
offerings that we are giving people.
All right.
Now look at me. I'm in travel. We have travel tech, like, and if I had taken tech seriously, right, trust me, m- my business would be in a better place than where it is
Mm,
now. We are in a good
right.
place. Like no bragging or like we're in a good place. But if I were to be very tech savvy, we would
Mm,
have been in a much better place or our
mm,
journey would have been faster. Because I see people, one thing I realize is that I've seen a couple of people on social media try to build travel platforms
mm.
like these software guys, they have this idea, but the thing is that they don't have the travel experience that I have or the
Experience.
business
Right.
experience that I have,
Right. Right.
right? But if I had the tech experience that they have, and
Right.
combine it with my current travel experience and business
Mm.
experience, like I
You
would,
probably also have like a new sector in your entire,
yeah,
Move Africa, like Move Tech.
yes, and we would probably have raised some funds by now. So
Mm,
that's what I said. Like the few people that I've spoken to in the VC space and all of that have advised me to find a way of making my service or my business or my company a product such that it
mm,
can work on its own where we can reduce this
mm,
human interference and
mm.
all of that.
Right.
So that's one thing I'm looking forward to doing in
Mm,
2024. But if I had taken tech seriously in school, if I had taken a few programming languages
mm,
and knowing how
mm,
to build a website on my own and all of that,
mm.
yeah,
Right.
we would have found ways of doing that better by now. Yeah.
Mm.
So because for now we've been just been working like manually and
Mm.
depending on other people's platforms.
All
But
right.
we are now trying to build our own platform.
All
So
right.
that one thing I would have done is to take tech seriously.
All right.
Yeah, and probably have a career in it and then ending up having my own business.
All
But
right.
I feel like that tech skill or experience is very, 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 very important,
All right.
no
All
matter who
right.
you are. Even if you want to be a pharmacist or whatever, like if you have some tech background in you, like you will be better off or more valuable than
Mm.
your counterparts who do not have any tech experience.
And that's very valid. And I'm just glad that you've spoken to people in the VC space who have advised you, and you are taking the little steps
Are you one
to
of
get.
them?
Am I one of the people that the VC space?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe you're
Well,
not a
I
venture
don't know.
capitalist, so
I'm not officially in VC. Who knows? Maybe
you could
sometime
write
in
a
the
check for
future.
us. You could be our first investor.
Really?
Yeah, that would be
Well,
an honor, though.
I definitely admire Move Africa.
Yeah,
Bef- Before I do that kind of check, I'll first have to get you your Bible, your new Bible first. So let's focus on
sure.
your spirit
Yeah,
and get the Bible
yeah.
first.
It says,
Then
"Seek ye first the
definitely,
kingdom of God," right? So,
exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly.
it's good.
But then fish, like coming from, someone who has known you from campus to like to now, seeing how you have, grown into the man that you are and how you are pushing your business. I'm super proud of you, and I'm looking forward to, the next phase of Move Africa
Yep.
and even Move Global. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think that's like there's so much potential in that space
yeah.
with the kind of products you can create and all that. So I am rooting for you, and I know I've said it several times. When I come to Ghana, I want to go on a trip with you guys. But every time I come to Ghana, for some reason or the other, something just pops up. But the next time I'm coming to Ghana, I'm making sure that a Move trip 1 or 2 is on my calendar. I need to go on a trip with you guys.
Sure. So, I mean, let me plug myself a bit. So, I think I spoke a bit about group trips, but we do more than just group trips. So, we
Okay.
do what we call private trips as well. So, like you,
Okay.
Raymond, in the UK or wherever you are now, whenever you
Right.
come to Ghana, right, you could call a few friends, 4, 5 of them, or even two, any number at all. And
Right.
we could plan a private trip for you. We could create a private experience. So, if there's been this
Mm,
trip you've been seeing on our pages that you always wanted to join, but
right.
whenever you come to Ghana, you realize that we are not doing it within that period that you are in Ghana. Just let me
Right.
know, and we'll create a private one for you and your friends, or you and your family, colleagues, or whoever. So we have group trips, we have private trips as well, and we have team bonding experiences. These ones are usually for tech companies or companies in Ghana who want
Right.
to have like offsite experiences for their staff. So
Mm,
usually the end of the year, they want to take a break, go somewhere for a retreat. We also do that as well. Yeah.
that's
So
amazing.
please
Fish.
don't be worried that when you come to Ghana, like there's no availability. So long as you have a few days to spare for travel, put
Right.
together a few friends or family and reach out, and we'll do something for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you guys, I will definitely put more details about Move in the description for you to check them out. If you haven't checked them out already, you should, because the Instagram alone is just,
Yeah.
calling. It's just,
And make sure when you're typing Move Africa, you make the O's 3 because
yes.
sometimes
So
people,
it's
yeah.
yes, it's MOOOVE. I'll definitely put all the information in
Sure,
the
great, 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 great.
description. But Fish, thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed this
Thank you,
conversation.
Ray. I wish we could talk all day because it's been a while since we had like a chat like this. So it's been
I know.
amazing. Yeah, it's been
I
amazing
know.
talking to you, and also for you to have me on your podcast. Like makes me so proud to be part of your journey as well. I feel like these are the kind of things that we need to be doing in life, supporting each other. So thank you so
Right.
much for the opportunity and giving me the chance to share my story with the rest of the world. Yeah, it really means a lot to
Amazing.
me.
Amazing. Amazing. A career as a network engineer was a promising future for Fish, but he chose to network with people and create lifelong memories. Wesley's bold career shift reminds us that life is meant to be an adventure, and sometimes taking a leap of faith and also leveraging tech in the process can lead to extraordinary experiences. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the TechStep Podcast. See you in the next episode.